Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to a series of chats at Vic White House, and today we have another outdoor one. The weather is a little cool, but it's a November day, and that's what we can all expect. So today we have with us someone that you may not recognize. It's my parking garage conversationalist, Norma Sanders, who moved into 311. Norma, what was the circumstance of your moving into Vic White House?
I had been on the waiting list for 7 years, and when I got the call in January that they had a space available for me, I didn't hesitate for 1 minute. And then, of course, COVID-19 hit, but I was happy to be able to make the move in spite of that challenge, and I'm very happy to be here.
Well, normally you would have had the welcome, either at Monday coffee or else Friday suppers, and that didn't happen. So if you don't recognize this face, she has been around for a while, and I guess this is going to be your official, unofficial welcome, Norma.
Well, thank you. That's very nice. Initially, of course, we were able to meet in the library, and I enjoyed that, and people were really good about introducing me to each other. So that was fine. That worked out okay. And but it is what it is, and we have to deal with it. But I am looking forward to having the social activities, started up again, because that was one of the reasons I wanted to move here.
So, Norma, we're all concerned about the COVID and the testing and so on. I'm going to give you a COVID test this morning, and this is the COVID test that we have in our with Barb and me. What day of the week is it?
It's Wednesday.
How do you know that?
I checked my paper, I checked my phone, and I listened to the radio.
We have that argument, and usually it's checking the newspaper to see what day it is. For heaven's sakes, that's crazy. So you've lived in St. Vital for a number of years.
I moved into Winnipeg from Morden in 2003, and I bought a house in Rawwood at the time.
You're kind of an outdoor person. You enjoy the outdoors, and you've done some walking on the trails.
Yes, when I lived in Rawwood, I would walk in the forest that is on the other side of Shore Hill, and really quite enjoyed it, and I decided that when I had to move out of my house, the place that I wanted to move was a place that had walking trails in the forest, and Vic White House really suits my needs in that respect.
So I got to know you, Norma, in the parking garage, and I noticed that just after you moved in, the color of the vehicle changed. What happened there?
I decided once I sold my house that I would buy myself a new car, which would probably be the last car that I will ever buy. It had to be an SUV because my old car was getting difficult to get in and out of, and my friends were finding that as well. And besides, I had not really taken my winter tires off the old car. So I thought, instead of doing that, I'll just trade it in, and that problem is taken care of.
Well, I think they talk about during difficult times, sometimes retail therapy is a good idea. And I have to tell you, from my point of view, a new car is the ultimate retail therapy. Absolutely,
yes. And it's red. I have to buy a red car. It has to be red.
Good for you. So, Norma, the technology that's involved in the new cars, how did you cope with that? Because I know some people go to the salesman, other people go to the manual, other people go online. Like, how did you figure out how to operate this new car?
It was a challenge. I spent time sitting in parking lots looking at my manual to figure out how to do this, how to do that. And although the salesman puts you through all the bells and whistles initially, by the time you leave the parking lot, you can't remember what he said. So I did do some challenging things on my own by trying to figure it out, and by just driving it. So I think I've managed it, and I've had the car for about 2 months, and the other day I discovered it's actually got a temperature gauge in it. So that was nice and new.
The one that I like on the new cars is the outside temperature. Like I always get a warning if it's, I think the temperature goes down from the parking about 2 plus 2, then it says a warning for ice and that kind of thing?
Yes,
You have
yes.
something like that too?
I do, and I'm sure, I just don't know how I managed to discover it. I guess I probably looked at the dash and wondered what that number meant until it finally dawned on me. It was the outside temperature. And in the garage, of course, it's nice and warm, and then it gets colder as we take it out.
So we talked about technology. What is the other discovery or the adventure in technology that you've taken lately?
Well, I had to get an iPhone a couple of years ago because my flip phone stopped working, and that was a challenge as well. And I had to get my children to show me many times how this works and that works. And now that I've got it, I couldn't be without it. A laptop I've had for several years. I had to get a new one just lately, and I'm really pleased with this. I don't do a lot on my laptop, but emailing friends and relatives back and forth is one of the main things that I do, plus research online. So, and I have this marvelous computer repairman, and he is just so patient, and I've recommended him to several of my friends. And, sometimes seniors have a hard time catching on to new things, and he has always told me there are no such things as stupid questions, so I feel quite comfortable with him.
Well, so would you mind sharing the information about this guru sometimes?
Absolutely not. Anybody that wants to know what his name is, it's Simpson Computing, but if you need him to look at your electronics and such, just call me and I'll give you his phone number.
Okay, well that's excellent. I was trying to persuade Norma at the outset of this interview to go zooming with me, but few resisted, so that's why we're outside. But any of you listening or watching, if you want to have a Zoom conversation with me like this in the comfort of our living rooms, separate of course in different apartments, I'm ready to try the Zoom experiment with somebody. So Norma, how are you keeping in touch with your family and friends in this COVID time?
A lot of it is email, a lot of it is phone calls. My last 25 or 30 years has been spent looking after seniors, including working in a personal care home. And I have senior family members that live in different cities. And I try to keep in touch with them by phone, most of them who do not use computers anymore. But that's what I need to do, just to check up on, because we're all isolated, in every city across Canada.
Is your family in Winnipeg or is it out of the province?
I come from a large family. My own immediate family, I have a daughter in Winnipeg, a son in Thunder Bay, and a daughter in Vancouver, and we keep in touch by phone, or they keep in touch by Facebook and things like that, and I haven't managed that part of the technology, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to sooner or
I'm
later.
going to get you zooming yet, Norma.
Maybe. Because they do a lot of FaceTiming each other, but so far I'm just depending on the phone. And then I have siblings all over Canada, and a lot of that is just on the phone.
Okay, good for you. So, do you have any recommendations for television, Netflix, books, etc., that are favorites of yours right now?
I really like the PBS stations. I love the documentaries. PBS has just got some wonderful programs. I'm not a big fan of fiction. When I read, it's biographies or true life adventures. I love the fact that we have a well-stocked library here. Plus, I use the Louis Riel Library quite often. I like true life murder mysteries, etc. I do have Netflix, but I don't really watch it a lot because I also like to read. I like to do puzzles in the newspaper and try and get those done every day. So, nothing I can recommend except for PBS. Love that station.
Yes, I agree, and I love my Sunday night masterpiece theater. And we even hit one that is his third episode of the series called Roadkill. And that's a departure from the PBS because it's English political drama, and it's very intense. So I'm excited about your I'm also a nonfiction fan, and I'm listening to a couple of audiobooks right now. one about pioneer history in the United States, discovery of the Ohio River, and also the other one about the Cold War, the history from 1945 to 2020, the relations between Soviet Union, Russia, and the US of A. And the stuff that we don't know, Norma, is extremely scary.
I agree.
Are you keeping up with the news a lot these days, or how do you ration yourself for news? Because a lot of it's quite depressing.
The first couple of hours of my day is usually spent reading the Free Press, almost cover to cover, and the situation down in the U.S., of course, with the election was mind-boggling, to say the least, and very interesting. But there are times you have to turn it off and go out for a walk. And there was a station, television station called AMI, which is AMI, and it has to do with focusing on disabled society and the services that are available to them. But one day I did watch a program on that channel about forest bathing. And so I decided, yeah, okay, I live along the forest here. I can go out and forest bathe, which really just means going out and exposing yourself to nature, trees, sunshine, grass, birds, etc. And I practice that.
That's quite exciting. There's a former student of Jean Sauvé who has done a video cast for Save Our Seine, Ariel Gordon. And I guess by the time you see this, it's going to be over because it's on Thursday night this week at 7 p.m. So you have to register in order to see that. So I'll give you the reference later on.
Okay.
So I think that ties it up for now. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to the next one we can't call it the hot seat, we're going to have to call it the cold seat. Thanks again, Norma.
You're welcome.